Well, listen, one person that rebounded was Whoopi Goldberg. The Icons returned to The View, and she said after her suspension that, quote, "It's an honor to be back." Now, recently, she was put on a 2-week suspension after claiming that the Holocaust wasn't about race. And she since then has returned to the show. And I was very critical, posted on Instagram, as you all have seen. But this is what she said when she returned. Listen.
And we missed you. And I missed you all, too. I got to tell you, there's something kind of marvelous about being on a show like this, because we are The View, and this is what we do. And sometimes we don't do it as elegantly as we could. And sometimes, well, yeah, but it's 5 minutes to get in important information about topics. Yeah. And that's what we try to do every day. And I want to thank everybody who reached out while I was away. And I'm telling you, people reached out from places that made me go, wait, what? Really? Yeah. Okay. And it was amazing. And I listened to everything everybody had to say, and I was very grateful, and I hope it keeps all the important conversations happening, because we're going to keep having tough conversations. Yeah. And in part because this is what we've been hired to do. And it's not always pretty, as I said, and it's not always as other people would like to hear, but it is an honor to sit at this table and be able to have these conversations, because they're important. They're important to us as a nation, and to us more so as a human entity.
Now, listen, I'll say, again, Whoopi has to do what Whoopi has to do for her. But I do think that this was a moment where she could have used her power to leverage a real conversation about how to bring us to the center. I mean, I think The View missed a big opportunity to create a conversation experience that built a bridge, versus her taking this public lashing and being humiliated. And she may not feel humiliated in public when she comes back on the show, but to me, that was humiliating to be done that way, and especially to being who she was. Now, I was very vocal on my Instagram, as you all see, and I've been talking about it. But I think Whoopi should have walked away from the show. I understand it's a show that pays a lot of money, but on top of being paid a lot of money and having a lot of influence as the #1 show in the morning, I think she should have walked away and did her own show. She could launch a podcast and made millions of dollars doing that.
Absolutely.
That's a very innovative and young mindset, and I think Whoopi's just tired. I think what she said wasn't, I don't believe it. So what she said was professional, and I feel like in order for her to safeguard her financial responsibilities, that $100K a week that she gets, that she probably uses to feed her team and her family and her grandchildren and everything else, she had to come out with that tone for the sake of keeping the peace, because she has a job to do and people who rely on her. So professionally speaking, I understand why she had to take that approach. But personally, y'all do not deserve the grace of Black women, because she was showing them so much grace. And I know that deep down she wanted to say something else. So she's between a rock and a hard place. If anything, this is just a reminder that The View is a lot more biased. And everything we said about The View, I still mean all of that. I still think that they let racists and white supremacists talk crazy all the time, and then suspended a Black woman for 2 weeks for not having the exact perfect amount of nuance. I still think they're hypocrites. I still think they're racist. I'm not a fan of The View. I'm a fan of Whoopi still, but I still think it was all just very, very foul. And it just sucks that we have to constantly be reminded that no matter how big you are with an EGOT, if you're Black, someone's still going to make you apologize when you didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I think we still need her point of view on The View on that platform. And, she's probably tired, like Blue said. I mean, it takes a lot to make that kind of a change where you're used to the same routine for the past few years. It's the same routine. To have to uproot that, that has to really be within her spirit, within her heart. I'm glad she made the right decision. I hope this was the right decision for her. But I'm excited that her voice is back on that platform. But I would have loved to see Whoopi step out and do her own thing, because she's an icon to us. She's a legend to us, and I think her voice matters and should never be silenced, especially based off small nuances.
With some digging around, I did some digging around. There was a person who looks like us. I guess she's the new president over there, who's Black, and she had to do the suspension. And I'm sure, given that, and she's not just Black, she's like Black sorority Black. So I already know there had to be some type of conflict. And I almost feel like they waited until they had somebody in place who looked like us, who could wrangle somebody else who looked like us in. I don't know. I think it was an embarrassing move on behalf of ABC. Now, I'm going to still continue to watch The View because she's there. It is my favorite show. But, and I'm not saying they need to cancel The View, but I do think that there should be some accountability for the people who missed this opportunity. And to Whoopi, you're a class act. For you to come back and be able to stand there and say that and move forward and be okay with it, I mean, I don't know if it's grace or what it is, but you're better than me. Trust me.